The day before our engagement party, the childhood sweetheart I deep doted on since you've planned to elope with that penniless boy. I locked her in overnight, never expecting that man would climb through her window, only to slip and fall to his death. Later we married without further incident. She bankrupted my family's company, caused my father's death, and personally pushed me off the rooftop. I finally realized she had been resenting me all these years. When I opened my eyes again, I had reincarnated to the moment when Chloe was quarreling with her parents, demanding to break off our engagement. I told her love is supreme, go pursue your true love, I support you. One, you're exactly the kind of disgusting hanger-on I despise most. How many times do I have to say it? I don't like you. Don't you have any self-respect at all? Chloe looked up at me with utter disgust on her face, staring at her expression. I suddenly felt dazed. Because just moments ago, she had been gripping my throat with a twisted, ferocious expression, screaming at me. Ethan King, go die, take your whole damn family to hell, and apologize to Caleb. Then she pushed me off the 18th floor rooftop. I heard the sound of every bone in my body shattering upon impact. Overwhelmed with grief, I don't know how much time had passed when I opened my eyes again, only to find myself reborn on the very day Chloe asked to break off our engagement. In my previous life, I had refused her request to annul the engagement, no matter how viciously she mocked and ridiculed me with her words. I was stubbornly determined to stay with her. This indirectly led to the accidental death of Caleb, the man she truly loved. She hated me for the rest of that life, and in the end brought ruin upon my family. Only after dying once did I suddenly wake up to the truth. Why didn't she like me, yet still felt perfectly at ease enjoying the resources of our Kane family and all the kindness I showed her? If I remember correctly, around this time, the Pond family had just requested an investment from my father under the pretext of business expansion. Out of respect for his long-standing friendship with Mr. Pond and considering my engagement to Chloe, father invested $30 million into the Pond family's company. The money hasn't even arrived yet, and she's already coming to our doorstep to throw her weight around. Does she think that no matter what she does, I'll wag my tail and beg for her favor like a dog? Chloe's mother spoke up. Chloe, how can you talk to Ethan like that? You can't just act so willfully because Ethan likes you. I suddenly found it all quite laughable. When did I ever say I liked you? I responded with detached indifference. Chloe seemed stunned by my unusual behavior, momentarily frozen in shock. After all, since childhood, I had always revolved around her, indulging her without limits. She was born beautiful, her face radiant and delicately charming. Now when I see her face, all I feel is an overwhelming surge of hatred. She seemed to think I was playing some reverse psychology game and immediately switched to that contemptuous look. Don't even think about using any sympathy-begging tricks. How disgusting. I suggest you just give up on that idea. No, I'm genuinely moved by your earth-shattering, touching love story. You two are truly made for each other. Love is supreme. Go chase your true love. I support you. After speaking, I patted Chloe on the shoulder and gave her an encouraging look. Hilarious, a soon-to-be destitute love struck rich girl and a scheming social climber. A perfect match locked them in forever. Mrs. Pound widened her eyes at my words and pulled Chloe behind her. Mr. Pound also changed his expression. When the Pound family was struggling, my father funded his business and factory. The Pound family's current success is entirely thanks to the Canes. The Pang family's company has recently encountered some financial difficulties and urgently needs capital to stay afloat. Without our family's $30 million investment, the Pang family will certainly not survive this crisis. At this critical moment, Chloe actually insists on breaking off the engagement. Looking at Mr. Pang's ashen face, I smiled and said, Mr. and Mrs. Pound, I've always treated Chloe like a younger sister. From now on, I wish her happiness. As long as you understand you're not even worth one of Caleb's fingers, I could never like someone like you. Chloe snorted coldly. By the way, regarding Kane Group's investment in Pound Corporation's project, I personally think we need to conduct another risk assessment. Whatever our family ISN, short of your petty money. Slap. Chloe was struck across the face by her father. From what I recall, Chloe had always been frail since childhood, pampered and sheltered by her family. This was the first time she had ever been hit. Clutching her flushed cheek, tears welled up in her eyes. I don't care how much you object. I'm calling off the engagement. I have someone I love. You one control my life. Chloe shouted these words through tears before running away. Her parents looked at me with guilty expressions, muttered an apology, and chased after her. Never interfere with another's destiny. Never disrupt the natural course of someone else's life. This was a lesson I learned through devastating consequences. That's why this time I won't attempt to alter Chloe's life choices again. Afterwards, the engagement was dissolved without incident. My father didn't comment, though I could tell he thought it was a shame. After all, in his eyes, Chloe was still that innocent and kind-hearted child. But judging by her actions, she truly wasn't worthy of becoming the wife of the Kane family heir. Since the engagement party didn't happen in this lifetime, Caleb wouldn't die. Everyone's life trajectories had changed. And so, my brand new life began. Chloe and Caleb held hands on campus. I never expected them to confirm their relationship so quickly and smoothly. The love story between the wealthy girl and the poor top student spread across campus, of course, with my subtle encouragement. Now I should be the one who wishes for them to stay together forever more than anyone else. People around me cast sympathetic glances my way. Yet I feel an unparalleled sense of relief. Graduation is approaching. At this time in my previous life, I was preparing to accompany Chloe to Europe. Truth be told, going to Europe wasn't my optimal choice. My father had wanted me to join the company after graduation to learn the ropes and take over management responsibilities as soon as possible. Instead, I accompanied Chloe to Europe for further studies under her hot and cold treatment. I was nearly driven to mental collapse and had no peace of mind for studying at all. During this time, my father died in a car accident, and I was called back to take over the company completely unprepared. Of course, I managed to run the company into the ground, pushing it to the brink of bankruptcy. After Chloe returned to the country, she became the CEO of the Bond Corporation and went on to acquire and merge with the Kane Group. She was at the height of her glory, but in this life, Chloe had a falling out with her parents and ran away from home. In a fit of anger, her father cut off all her financial support. Chloe was now love struck her mind, completely consumed by the desire to cling to Caleb every single day. She gave up her opportunity to go to Europe and join the same company as Caleb, working as an ordinary office employee. The two of them rented a small apartment and started living together. She finally got to live the ordinary life she had always dreamed of. I even stumbled upon Chloe playing the role of a housewife for love on Instagram, wearing an apron and learning to cook. You should know Chloe grew up pampered and privileged. She never cooked a single meal in her life. After marriage, I went out of my way to cook her different dishes every single day. I frowned bitterly, but the comments below made me burst out laughing despite myself. Chloe, are you out of your mind? Why are you so eager to be someone's unpaid maid? It was her best friend Sophia Miller. In my previous life, I never paid much attention to Sophia. She was Chloe's classmate and later became her personal assistant. Straightforward in character with clear likes and dislikes, we rarely crossed paths. Yet unexpectedly, just before I fell from the building and lost consciousness, it was Sophia I saw kneeling beside me, weeping bitterly. After death, the last sense to fade is hearing. I heard Sophia's confession, heard her say she had always loved me, but as Chloe's friend, she could only hide that affection with the utmost care. She had given me warnings and hints that Chloe might come after me. But back then, I simply wouldn't listen. When the private investigator threw the evidence in my face, I still couldn't believe it was Chloe who hired someone to tamper with my father's car. I went to confront her, but she asked to meet me on the rooftop. Chloe said she had watched Caleb die right before her eyes back then, and that every single second of every day she'd been thinking about killing me to avenge him. He was such a pure and beautiful person, 10 of my lives wouldn't be enough to repay him. She didn't know Caleb was far more complicated than the surface she saw. Having finally touched the opportunity to change his fate, how could he possibly let go so easily? Caleb came from a poor family. His father had died young in a workplace accident, leaving only his mother to raise him on meager compensation money while putting him through school. He truly proved himself worthy, leaving that small town behind to attend the best university in our city of New York. When I first learned Chloe had feelings for Caleb, I bribed Caleb's roommate. At first, I just wanted to teach him a lesson and dig up some dirt on Caleb to disappoint Chloe. Little did I expect to uncover Caleb's true nature. Caleb always called his mother, and his roommate overheard their conversations several times by chance. He said he met a foolish, love-struck rich girl who was easy to deceive. And she was an only child. After marriage, the entire Pond family's company and wealth would be his. As long as he could be with her, he could achieve a class leap. It was a result that no amount of studying or hard work could ever accomplish. Hearing this, my muddled mind in the previous life never even thought to record it and let Chloe listen. Instead, I had someone beat him up severely. Caleb ended up hospitalized for half a month. Chloe resented me even more. I told Caleb, after graduation, we'll be engaged. He'd never have another chance. Who knew he'd act so desperately, so ruthlessly against himself. At first, he only planned to fall from a building, break a leg, and win Chloe's sympathy. After all, the 3-story height of the villa posed no real fatal danger. Holding onto the windowsill, he calculated the angle and prepared to land safely in the soft bushes below. But fate had other plans. For some inexplicable reason, a sharp, jagged stone lay hidden in the grass. As he fell, the jagged edge of that stone plunged straight into his skull. Though it was entirely his own doing, Chloe blamed his death entirely on me. No matter what I said to her, she believed I was deliberately slandering Caleb, that I was wicked-hearted, trying to justify my own crimes. Back then, Sophia even pleaded for me in front of Chloe, only to be slapped twice by her. Thinking of Sophia made me realize I'd been chasing Chloe all this time, never noticing someone had been silently watching over me. I opened her chat window and sent an invitation. Are you free tomorrow night? Want to have dinner together? The typing notification appeared several times before she finally settled on a reply. Sure, I'm going to make you pay dearly for this meal. Please don't hold back then. I'll pick you up, I replied, the corner of my mouth curling upward. For I leaned against my car waiting for Sophia to finish work, when unexpectedly, I saw Chloe and Caleb walking out of the company gate side by side. I almost forgot now all three of them work at the same company. Chloe spotted my flashy eye-catching car and walked over with an eye roll. Are you out of your mind, Ethan? We have nothing to do with each other now. Can you just stop bothering me? You're overthinking it. I tilted my head, looking at Sophia behind the two of them, and smiled as I greeted her here. Chloe's face turned pale, her features twisting momentarily. Are you doing this to make me jealous? I snorted through my nose, not even bothering to reply. Chloe seemed angered by my reaction and impatiently urged Caleb to leave. Caleb was momentarily dazed, only responding after she nudged him several times. From the very beginning, Caleb's gaze never left my sports car. I could see the ambition and thirst for wealth and power in his eyes. Perhaps he was still fantasizing about sitting in the car, basking in the envious stares of passersby. Thinking Caleb was angry, Chloe affectionately looped her arm through his and coquettishly tried to appease him. Caleb immediately switched to a tender, affectionate gaze as he looked at Chloe, gently ruffling her hair. Chloe stood on tiptoe and planted a kiss on the man's cheek. The two lovebirds went to scan the QR code for a shared bike, but the her before me was completely different from my memories. The young mistress who wouldn't even drive her own car before had now learned to ride shared bikes and seemed to be thoroughly enjoying it. Love truly reigns supreme. It can make people lose their minds and forge an entirely new personality. I sighed inwardly, then turned to see Sophia, scowling with her lips curled in disgust, as if she'd spotted something filthy. I found her rather amusing. If it's so revolting, why keep looking? Might as well spare your appetite. I slammed the accelerator, speeding past the cycling duo. The spinning wheels kicked up muddy water, drenching them head to toe. At the dinner table, Sophia remained silent for a long time before finally unable to resist asking me if I was currently acting out of spite towards Chloe. I shook my head without hesitation, yet still saw full-blown suspicion in Sophia's expression. There was no helping it. My previous lovesick persona had been far too deeply ingrained in people's minds. Truth be told, these past couple days, I'd been pondering this question too. The old me was like an NPC in a game with preset programming, mechanically completing the mission of loving the female lead. After experiencing all those things in my past life, I finally calmed down enough to ask myself, what exactly did I love about her? Perhaps what I couldn't let go of was just that childhood version of her. The Chloe who patted her little chest and said, I'll share my mom with you when I lost my mother. She had long since changed. It's just that in my previous life, I kept deceiving myself, too afraid to admit the truth. I used to like her, but people always have to move forward. Besides, we've long been on different paths. I responded calmly. Sophia sighed. I was struggling with how to tell you this. Since you say you've let go, I'll be straightforward. Sophia hesitated for a few seconds. Chloe is pregnant. I choked on the water in my mouth, coughing for a long time before finally being able to speak. So soon I thought you'd tell me she was getting married. If you're sad, just let it out. Don't hold it in. Sophia lowered her eyes, her expression tinged with barely perceptible sorrow. No, I just didn't expect the show to start this quickly. From what I know, Caleb's mother is not someone to be trifled with. Caleb is a complete mama's boy through and through, coupled with a love-struck rich girl. With this combination colliding, I can't even imagine how eventful Chloe's life is about to become. According to Sophia's plan right now, she's probably preparing to comfort poor heartbroken me. To my surprise, I ended up listening to Sophia curse Chloe in every possible way for hours, then comforting her instead. You can't wake someone who is pretending to sleep. Let her make her own choice. She is an adult who must take responsibility for her life. Sophia rested her chin on her hand, staring at me. Ethan, I've noticed you've changed quite a lot. Under her gaze, I unconsciously felt my face grow warm. Seems like I've become less pathetic now. 6 after seeing Sophia off, I received a call from the testing agency. The soil sample I sent in a week ago has yielded results. The downfall of the Kane family in my past life wasn't solely Chloe's doing. It was all because of that heavily polluted land that my father had spent a fortune to acquire at auction. Father had planned to develop it into a large-scale, upscale community within a few years, complete with commercial centers, residential areas, schools, and hospitals. But unexpectedly, just months after construction began, an anonymous tip exposed severe soil and groundwater contamination on the site, with heavy metal levels far exceeding safety standards. The project was forced to halt, and all the Group's investments went down the drain. The company's stock price has been falling for days, and my father has been summoned multiple times for investigation. Later, the car he was riding in lost control and overturned on the highway, resulting in a fatal crash. I didn't even get to see him one last time and that contaminated land was a trap set by Mr. Pound and his competitors using false information as bait. He had urged his father to make the purchase, and at that time his father had even entrusted the most crucial land assessment work to the Pound family. Mr. Pound bribed the inspection agency to produce a fake compliance report. All of this Chloe had confessed it to me word for word before she pushed me off the building. To kill a man is nothing to break his heart, is everything she wanted me to suffer the most extreme agony. I asked her frantically why would the Pound family repay kindness with betrayal? Why use such vicious means against the man who treated him like a brother? She said Mr. Pound had always told her that the Kane family only gave him unprofitable peripheral projects to handle. Mr. Kane was so wealthy, what right did he have to adopt such a condescending attitude, treating him like a beggar, giving him scraps, and expecting him to be grateful? His daughter marrying into the Kane family was considered climbing the social ladder. They had to plaster on smiles and grovel before the Kanes. Why couldn't Mr. Kane be the one bowing and scraping before him instead? When Mr. Kane lent him money, it was just a few tens of millions. If he could have coughed up more money, the Pang family business would have grown even larger. There would never have been a cash flow crisis. I was stunned speechless by this bandit logic. Father had always regarded Mr. Pang as his closest friend. I never expected he'd been lying in wait all along, just waiting for the chance to sink his teeth into Father, then push him into the abyss. They were clearly the beneficiaries, yet they kept complaining about life's unfairness. Truly only such a paranoid, narrow-minded, and selfish father could have raised a Chloe with this warped personality, someone who thinks the whole world has wronged her. Watching my devastated despair, Chloe gave a mocking laugh. She said to me, "Actually, it was you who killed your father. My father only wanted to ruin Mr. Kane, but I wanted him dead. Because of you, I'll make you experience how painful it is to lose the person you love most. Father, I'm sorry if only in my past life I hadn't been so stubborn, obsessed only with love. I would never harm you in this life this time. I will protect both you and the Kane group at all costs. I'll make the entire Bond family pay," slamming the test report on my father's desk. He stared at the document, his brow furrowing with a sharp, piercing expression. Then he asked me how I'd thought to get tested. How could I possibly tell him I'd been reborn? Given his personality, he would definitely send me to a mental hospital. But there's a perfect lie. He'd have to believe I had a dream my mother told me about. After waking up, I thought it'd be better to get checked out just to be safe. At the mention of Mom, Dad's expression flickered. He asked me what would you do in my place. I said we absolutely mustn't alert the enemy at this moment, since the pawns want to play dirty tricks. Confronting them now would only turn our advantageous position into a passive one. Father nodded approvingly and told me it's not just about self-defense, but counterattack. I thought for a moment before speaking up. By the way, Dad, Mom also told me what's the minimum bid price for that plot of land in the Southern District. And one more thing, the Limport area will become our city's largest cluster of unfinished construction projects in a few years. Didn't your mom tell you the winning lottery numbers for the next draw? She did say wealth should be earned through hard work. Sounds exactly like something your mom would say. I saw my father laughing one moment, then suddenly lost in thought the next. I knew he was missing Mom. He never remarried after she passed away. The Kane family's romantic genes are truly hereditary. Chloe is getting married. After all, she's the only daughter of the Bond family, and now she's pregnant. Her parents ultimately had no choice but to compromise and agree to this marriage. I just never expected she'd invite me to the wedding, probably hoping to see on my face that agonized expression of unrequited love, the pain of watching the one you love marry someone else. Or maybe they thought I wouldn't even have the courage to show up. Sophia clenched the 2 invitations in her hand, ready to tear them apart. I stopped her in my past life the day Chloe and I got married. Caleb's mother caused a huge scene at our wedding. She was screaming for us to pay with our lives for Caleb until security dragged her away. She even hurled abuse at Chloe, calling her a used-up slut who'd been played by her son. I knew it was Chloe who tipped off Caleb's mother. But Chloe certainly never expected this shrew would indiscriminately attack her too. With her personality, I don't believe she'd let her son's wedding day pass without causing some trouble. I curled my lips and replied to Sophia, "Of course, I'll take you to see the show. And I'll bring along a carefully prepared special gift." Chloe's wedding venue clearly showed signs of being hastily arranged. Thinking back to that grand wedding I had planned for Chloe for months in my previous life, yet she remained cold-faced throughout, not showing a trace of a smile. She told me she would only marry me if she could wear a haute couture gown by that most famous designer at the wedding. I spent a considerable amount of money and called in many favors from friends before finally securing that designer's schedule. But Chloe tore that expensive wedding dress to shreds just before the ceremony began. Instead, she wore the one she had promised Caleb they would wear together. Chloe resembled the tragic heroine from a melodrama, forced to marry the villain. Her eyes downcast, tears clinging to her lashes as she endured the entire ceremony. But what I can't understand is that I never forced her to marry me. It was all her own choice at the wedding in my previous life. Every piece of jewelry she wore was extraordinarily valuable. Especially the diamond on the crown. It was my mother's favorite when she was alive. It was a token of love my father gave to her, precious to me, not just in value, but in meaning. Chloe wanted that diamond to have it polished and set into a crown. In my past life, my mind was filled with nothing but her, so I agreed without hesitation. Yet that very diamond was carelessly tossed by Chloe into the toilet and flushed down the drain. One by one, she destroyed everything I cherished, dragging me deeper into the mire. I watched her in this lifetime at her wedding with Caleb, wearing an ill-fitting wedding dress and cheap jewelry. If she couldn't stop laughing the whole time, the more I watched, the more I realized how pathetically foolish I'd been in my past life. Caleb approached me with a wine glass in hand. He truly mastered the art of being a manipulative bastard, frowning with feigned innocence while unable to suppress his triumphant expression. I stole Chloe away, I'm sorry, but you already had so much. She was all I had. I was utterly fed up with this charade. Patting Caleb on the shoulder, I whispered in his ear, "Don't be like that, brother. I should be thanking you. You just had bad luck, bet on the wrong horse." I wonder if married couples have to share debts after tying the knot. I watched Caleb's frozen expression and understood everything in my heart. Caleb was smart. He should have guessed that something was wrong with the Pound family now. But before, to maintain his aloof and arrogant persona, acting as if money meant nothing to him. He had never taken a single penny from Chloe's family. So from the beginning until now, aside from using the Pound family's name to secure a job, Caleb had gained nothing else. What a pitiful fellow, worse off than a gigolo. But right now, he must still be clinging to false hopes, dreaming of climbing the social ladder. After all, even a starved camel from the Pound family is bigger than their sorry old nag. And things would be different after marriage. He'd been scheming all along to inherit the entire Pound family fortune. Chloe saw me standing beside Caleb, staring at me with deadly hostility as if facing a formidable enemy. I raised my champagne glass and toasted in her direction. "Congratulations, you're now on the path you were always meant to walk. This time, no one will pull you back from the wrong track again. Likewise, all the consequences are what you deserve to bear. Welcome to hell." 10. Chloe's parents arrive fashionably late. Both their expressions looked as if they'd swallowed dead flies. After all, according to Mr. Pond's plan, everything would be fine as long as Chloe successfully married into the Kane family. They could use this identity to join forces with him and swallow up the Kane group together. The Pound family would have completely turned their fortunes around, but despite all their scheming, they never expected their own daughter to be such a lovesick fool. After all their careful selection, she ended up choosing Caleb, who came from nothing. Chloe's parents sat down with faces like thunder, outright ignoring Caleb's eager greetings. Caleb's mother couldn't stand seeing her son being humiliated. She planted her hands on her hips, spat on the ground, and sneered, "What's with the act? My son is outstanding. If it weren't for your daughter throwing herself at him and getting pregnant to force marriage, we wouldn't have agreed to this." Chloe's parents turned livid with rage. Her mother clenched her teeth, trembling all over, cursing that Caleb's poor family had no manners. Hearing these insults from Chloe's mother, Caleb's relatives all slammed the table and stood up. Relatives from both sides were arguing in chaos. Amid the commotion, I walked onto the stage, picked up the microphone, and cleared my throat. "Everyone quiet, please. Today, I've prepared a wedding gift for the bride. This diamond is my mother's heirloom. Now, I want to give it to my dear sister Chloe." The room fell silent instantly. Some who knew the diamond's origin began whispering, while others mocked me for using my mother's keepsake to win the bride's favor. What an utterly hopeless romantic. Caleb's mother immediately stopped her cursing when she heard people around her say this diamond was worth a fortune, her eyes lighting up with greed. I cleared my throat and continued. "This gift is mainly to thank Uncle Pond for his contributions to my father and the Kane group. If Uncle Pond hadn't secretly had the Riverside plot tested and discovered the heavy metal contamination, the Kane group would have lost everything if we acquired that land. So on behalf of my father, I want to thank you." I bowed deeply, and the audience's applause rose at just the right moment. When I raised my head again, my gaze met Mr. Pound's directly. His expression was a sight to behold: shock, confusion, panic, and regret. In fear, I was certain that what had happened here today would soon reach the ears of the CEO of Vertex Development Group. Mr. Pond went through so much trouble to finally connect with the CEO of Vertex Development, then set up this elaborate scheme to pledge allegiance. Now he is being forcibly framed and labeled as a double agent. At this point, Mr. Pond couldn't clear his name even if he jumped into the Yellow River. Besides, that diamond was fake. I'm not stupid enough to give Chloe the real thing. But this false accusation is real now. The Pound family not only loses the Vertex Development investment, but has also offended them. Believe me, the Pound family's future won't be easy, yet only Mr. Pound himself knows the truth of this matter. At that moment, Chloe rolled her eyes disdainfully and threw the diamond box at my feet. Who wants your worthless junk? What priceless treasure in my heart. It can't even compare to this silver ring Caleb gave me. He made it for me with his own hands. Caleb and his mother both changed their expressions. Caleb's mother pushed Chloe aside and rushed toward the jewelry box with swift steps. But I was faster picking up the box. I said, since that's the case, I won't force the issue. I'll just take it back with me. The look on Caleb's mother's face was one of gnashing teeth, as if she could barely restrain herself from tearing Chloe apart on the spot. Chloe affectionately looped her arm through her father's and rested her head against his shoulder. Pouting playfully at her father, she cooed, Daddy, didn't you say you weren't coming? I just knew Daddy loves Chloe the most. Caleb, come quick, say hello to Daddy. She didn't notice how her father was now gnashing his teeth, enraged, the veins on his neck bulging ominously. He would surely attribute all the reasons for his failure to Chloe. You worthless thing, slap. Her father delivered a heavy blow to Chloe's face, snapping her head to the side as blood seeped from the corner of her mouth. How could I have given birth to such a cheap, worthless piece of trash like you? Dazed by the blow, Chloe wore a vacant expression, unable to comprehend why her father had suddenly erupted in such fury. Not even the day she told her father she was pregnant had he reacted so violently. What on earth was happening? Her father even reached out only to be stopped by her mother. Caleb's mother fanned the flames from the sidelines, as if the commotion wasn't dramatic enough. Having accomplished my mission, I took Sophia's hand and left the banquet hall, leaving behind a mess. 11 several months later, with the help of the winning bid price information I provided, my father successfully secured that prime piece of land in the Southern District. From his excited expression, you could tell just how much money this land would earn him in the future. Meanwhile, the Pang family failed to secure Vertex Development's investment, causing their capital chain to break. Mr. Pang found himself millions in debt overnight, facing compulsory enforcement measures and being detained in custody. The villa cars and all properties were seized and confiscated by the court. Chloe, with her swollen belly, knelt before me crying until she nearly fainted. I'm sorry, Ethan, I regret it, please help me, she pleaded. If my father can't come up with the money to repay the debts, soon he'll be sentenced to prison. Ethan, I know you're the best to me. Just lend me the money, and I promise my father will pay you back once he gets out. I opened my mobile banking app and showed her my balance. $13,800 left. Is that enough to bring your dad home? Seeing my reaction, Chloe stood up furiously, her face twisted in anger as she pointed at me. We grew up together. How could you be so cruel as to refuse to help when I'm in dire straits? Your family is so wealthy, this amount of money is nothing to you. How dare you refuse to help us? Chloe grew more agitated as she spoke, finally roaring and lunging to grab my clothes. I dodged, and she stumbled, nearly hitting her stomach against the stairs. I've already called the police. Please leave my house immediately. Chloe glared at me fiercely. One last time, you'll get what's coming to you. With that, she placed a hand on her belly and walked away without looking back. There will indeed be retribution, but it certainly won't be mine. Later, I learned from Sophia that now that the Pound family has gone bankrupt, Caleb finally reveals his true colors. He began beating and cursing Chloe that day. Drunk out of his mind, Caleb kicked her squarely in the stomach. By the time she reached the hospital, the baby was already lost. To save her life, doctors had to perform a hysterectomy. Upon hearing the news, Caleb's family immediately filed for divorce, mainly because Caleb has now latched onto the department head's daughter. His career is skyrocketing, but I'm not too surprised. After all, a man like him knows exactly what he wants and understands what women fall for. Everything that happens must serve his advantage. In his eyes, love never existed. Everything is just a resource to be exploited. He initially approached Chloe because he was drawn to her family background. Now that all that was lost, Chloe naturally couldn't keep him. Caleb was in such a hurry to divorce that he even began laying hands on her. In the end, he drove her out of the house. Sophia couldn't bear to see it and took Chloe in to stay with her. I can understand, after all in this life, Chloe hasn't had the chance to commit those atrocities yet. When I saw Chloe at Sophia, as I almost didn't recognize her. She and fully recovered from her surgery before Caleb beat her black and blue. The relentless blows had reduced her to a soulless walking corpse. The woman before me now is worlds apart from the fierce, decisive Chloe I remembered from my past life. It was like night and day. Clutching a pillow, Chloe stared blankly at the ceiling. Her face was deathly pale. After a long silence, she finally whispered in a trembling voice, "Are you happy now, Ethan Kane, seeing me reduced to this state? Does it please you?" I shook my head. Even now, she still believed that her current predicament was all my fault. I told you long ago that Caleb couldn't be trusted. This was your own choice, and you must bear the consequences. Hearing this, Chloe's expression instantly twisted into something terrifying. Caleb was seduced by that bitch, otherwise he wouldn't have treated me like this. It's all because of that shameless whore. Caleb will surely change his mind in this world. No one loves him more than I do. No one. I scoffed, hopeless, just as I was figuring out how to throw Chloe out of Sophia's house. The phone on the table rang. Chloe crawled toward it on all fours. When she saw Caleb's name on the caller ID, it was like a drowning person clutching at a floating log. Suddenly seeing a glimmer of hope, Chloe's face lit up with renewed vitality after just a few words. She said Caleb was coming to take her home. Sophia tried to stop her, but I pulled her back firmly. Yes, your husband still loves you. If he hits you, and not others, it means you hold a unique place in his heart. Hurry home now. Chloe completely ignored me and kept packing her things by herself. Seeing her like this, I suddenly realized I no longer harbored any hatred toward her. It was as if I were watching a stranger fully immersed in the script she'd written for herself. My heart remained utterly undisturbed. Chloe, from now on, let us each go our separate ways. 12 time passed quickly ever since I joined Kane Corporation. My father threw me into the construction department, starting from the grassroots level. Every day, I wore a hard hat and lived alongside the workers at the construction site. During the day, I poured concrete, and at night before bed, I'd video chat with Sophia. She said I'd gotten much darker and more rugged when I brought up wanting to get engaged with her again. She coldly rejected me again. I'm busy making money. Right now, engagement, are you going to support me? I'll carry bricks to support you, I said, wiping the dust off the tip of my nose. Sophia laughed. Her smile was beautiful. It gave me an inexplicable sense of comfort. With the little money you make, you should focus on supporting yourself first. Then boss Sophia better work hard to redeem me from the construction site soon. Let me first see how much you're worth. I'll lift my shirt up. Six-pack, abs, name your price. I caught the momentary blush spreading across her face. The atmosphere grew somewhat charged. Feeling my throat tighten, I quickly changed the subject. Next week is my father's birthday, and I've invited her to the birthday banquet. At that time, my father will formally introduce Sophia to everyone as his future daughter-in-law. And since I've been on assignment abroad for over a year, it's about time I returned to the group. 13, I got a haircut, put on a suit, and made myself presentable. I went to pick out a birthday gift for my dad. Just as I stepped out of the mall, a woman dressed, provocatively reeking of cheap, pungent perfume grabbed me. Hey, handsome, want to have some fun? I shoved her away in disgust, then looked up and saw her face clearly. It was actually Chloe. Her face was caked with heavy makeup, but it couldn't hide the exhaustion beneath. I struggled to reconcile the person before me with the Chloe from my memories. She recognized me too, just a momentary stunned pause. She reverted to that cold expression, lit a cigarette, took a drag, then tilted her head to blow smoke into my face. Fuck off. If you're not playing, don't waste my damn time. After leaving, I inquired and learned that after Caleb took Chloe home, Caleb intensified his torment of her in order to force a divorce. In the end, Chloe couldn't endure it any longer and divorced Caleb. She didn't take a single penny. Chloe's father committed suicide in prison. Her mother couldn't withstand the blow either and jumped from a building. Chloe lost her entire family, had no means to earn money, yet faced such enormous expenses. She looked down on the job Sophia had arranged for her, and in the end, she had no choice but to resort to selling her body for money. A few days later, Sophia received a call from the hospital. Chloe had been beaten to near death by a perverted client who refused to pay. She was still unconscious when Sophia and I went to the hospital to see her. I paid her medical bills. The doctor told us that Chloe's arms and inner thighs were covered with dense needle marks. The patient has been a long-term drug addict compounded by this year's experiences. Her body has been ravaged beyond recognition. The hospital has already reported it to the police. After she recovers, she'll be sent to a rehabilitation center for mandatory drug treatment. 14, Chloe woke up after regaining consciousness. She suddenly became completely deranged. She kept raving about being the CEO of a listed company worth billions. The colleagues who came to see her covered their mouths laughing until their stomachs hurt. They all thought she suffered brain damage until she saw me and jumped off the hospital bed. She knelt before me, saying she had remembered everything, the memories from her past life and all she had done to me. I regretted Ethan. The life I struggled so hard to obtain turned out to be this tragic. Her voice trembled uncontrollably between sobs. I never imagined Caleb could be such a person. To think I resented you for that man's death, and in the end, I even killed you with my own hands. I'm sorry, Ethan, I was wrong. After a long silence, I smiled and told her you just had a dream. Forget it. No matter how viciously she mocked and taunted me. I took Sophia's hand and walked forward. My past was over. A future awaits me, fresh and brimming with hope, a brand new life. 15 later, I heard Chloe had tracked down Caleb, who had already built a new happy family. When they met, Caleb was strolling through the park with his pregnant wife. Chloe rushed forward and plunged a knife straight into his heart. Caleb died instantly on the spot, and Chloe immediately jumped to her death. She left behind a suicide note that read, "I'll definitely come back one more time." She would surely be reborn next time. She would cherish the opportunity and never make the wrong choice again. Would she? But I no longer care. The end.